Hi, I'm Advisor Maiwat with the College Connection Center here to give you a few tips on how to fit in as a freshman. So let's just get this presentation going. Not share, but present. And here we are. So as I mentioned, this is supposed to give you a better idea of tips for settling into a college campus as a freshman and just ways of really finding yourself and feeling like you fit in on this campus. So I've broken it down based on a few areas of time. So first of all, what are some tips, some things that you can do before you reach the campus? For one, you got to be sure that you get packing and you should get packing early. So you're probably going to be tempted to take a lot of things that may not actually be necessary. Remember that for your first year of college, you don't need to bring your entire wardrobe. You don't need to bring every single thing from your bedroom. Just try to keep it to the essentials. You may have gotten a list of things that you are encouraged to buy or to bring from your college. And if you haven't, feel free to look them up online. There are plenty of lists that'll tell you a little bit more about things that you should bring. So be sure that you know what you want to bring, especially because if you end up on campus the same day that every other freshman is moving in and realize that, say, you don't have enough clothes hangers, you're not going to be the only one who realizes that. And it's probably going to be that you try and run to Target or Walmart and someone else has already snagged all of them before you got there. So just try to be really careful about packing everything that you need. Really think through very carefully, is there anything that I'm missing, something small? And I guarantee that you'll forget something, whether it be toilet paper, a trash bag, something will go missed. You just want it to be something that's not going to end up being really costly or that you are going to miss having for the first couple of weeks. And then you also want to check your restrictions, things that you can bring into a dorm and things that you can't bring into a dorm. A lot of places are going to have restrictions regarding anything that heats up. You can probably still bring a microwave, but things like a hot plate, possibly a toaster, you're going to want to check with your dorm and see that you are not bringing anything that doesn't meet regulations. Next, before you get to campus, you're going to want to do a lot of research. There are plenty of things that you will be researching. I'm certain that leading up to you deciding that you want to enroll in this school, you've done a lot of research on the school. But now it's time to research things that have a little bit more to do with your student body. So for one thing, you're going to want to start looking at student organizations. Let's think about what clubs you want to join once you get onto campus. And then see if there are any student forums or online groups. In my case, we had a class of 2023 Instagram page and a Facebook page. So everyone who was going to my school, who was going to be a freshman that year, we had the option to join in on that group chat. And then it's just a really good way to meet new people. Or if someone has a family member or a sibling, I say as if that's not also a family member, but like a parent, an uncle, a sibling of sorts who has been to that college, maybe they're posting extra tips that they have learned from that family member. So it's really good to find and join those organizations online if you can find them. And then it also is nice to look into the surrounding area because you're not going to be on campus all of the time. Maybe there's a restaurant nearby that you really want to check out or a store, especially because we are in the Midwest, and I know a lot of my students are interested in going to KU. And Lawrence is a really beautiful town, and there's a lot of things that you'll want to do, participating in nightlife, just seeing the town. It's good to do a little bit of a background check, let's say, on the area that you're moving to. And then one of the other tips I want to give you is make the most of your summer. Things are about to get really crazy. You're about to be entering adult life and going into schooling. Things I'm sure you don't need to know already, but things are going to be a little more difficult than they were in high school in all likelihood. So if it's possible for you, just try to relax whenever you can. Connect with those friends that you are not going to be able to speak to as much during the school year. And then if possible, it's a really good idea to save money because as soon as you get out on your own for the first time and let's say maybe you haven't developed a budget yet, your first month could be a little bit costly, whether that be because you're buying groceries for the first time on your own, or there's a likelihood that just when you're not under your parents' roof, there's going to be something that you've always wanted to try that you finally have the opportunity to try. In my case, within the first few months of going to college, I immediately got a piercing. So that was $40 out of my bank account. And I'm sure that there's something similar to that that would appeal to you. Oh, and then a bonus that I have listed here is collect some coins. So while you're doing that research, it's a good time to find out if your campus has laundry and if you have to pay for it through coins. Now, there's the possibility that you can use your student ID and load some money onto it and just use that as a virtual tap pay, and that's how you can do your laundry on campus. In my case, that was not very simple. So I ended up going to school, opening up a bank account nearby, and having to regularly go and get new rolls of quarters. So while you're doing some research, see if you also need to get some quarters so that you can do laundry when you get there. Moving on, let's say it's your first day on campus. You're planning to move in, you're planning to attend orientation. What are some ways that you can be successful there? Well, for one, it's really helpful to build a move-in plan. Now, a lot of times when you move into a college campus, there's going to be some kind of time constraint. You may have to sign up for a window of time in which you're going to be moving in. And then it's time for you to consider how much can I move at once? How many people are going to be there helping me move? Or how many people can I bring with me to move? And how efficient do we think we're going to be? What is the best way to spend our time? What is the thing that I need in my room, first of all, more than anything? And then, of course, basic tip is be sure that you stay on time. This is not the kind of day where you want to wake up, say, hit snooze one or two times, roll out of bed, and think, yeah, it's probably okay for us to leave now. It's very important that you arrive on time or early because who knows if your situation was anything like mine, you can plan for everything in the world, but you will forget the fact that everyone is moving in on the same day. And even if you're on time, maybe there's no parking available. Maybe you forgot one thing in the car. Maybe you lost one of your keys. Maybe you have to sign in with the front desk and you weren't aware of that. Just try to eliminate the possibility of being late wherever possible. You're going to want to attend orientation activities. Your first week where you're doing orientation nonstop, it's going to be pretty busy. You're probably going to get pretty tired, but there's some pretty crucial activities that end up going on during orientation. For instance, you're probably going to get another tour of the college. It's a really good time for you to start paying attention to the layout of your campus and get a better feel for what building you are going to have to be in or buildings that you're going to have to be in for your first selection of classes. Excuse me. Another thing is that you may be going through technological tutorials, that being signing into a student portal or creating your Canvas page. There's a possibility that your school uses something like Blackboard or Canvas, just wherever all of your classes end up living, whatever portal that ends up existing in. Be sure you follow along because the last thing you want is your first week of classes, you not to have access to any syllabus or be able to turn in any of your homework. It's important that you follow along and be sure that all of that is settled. And then, of course, this is a perfect time for you to ask questions. If there's anything that came up during a tour, something you've thought of over the summer, any complications, say when you're following those technological tutorials, Any questions you have, now is a great time to be asking it. So be sure to ask questions. Doesn't mean you have to come with any prepared. I'm not going to say that you need to go above and beyond in that regard, because certainly someone will have questions. But whatever you do, don't come away with it with questions. The last thing you want to do is go into your first week not knowing something that you could have easily learned the answer to during this process. Finally, and most importantly, be prepared to meet new people. So the biggest thing that happens in orientation is that they are going to put you in a group and they are going to try to do some sort of, let's say, like more awkward bonding activities. And maybe it's a little bit cringy, but it's just for the sake of trying to get a nice atmosphere where everyone feels comfortable, because going to college is a really big transition. And while you may be going from Missouri to UMKC, and that's not very far, there's the possibility that someone's moving from even Canada. So people could be coming from all over the space. It's a very big transition. Maybe they're really far from home. The most important thing is that they find a sense of community, that everyone finds a sense of community. So while they're working on these orientation groups, there's probably going to be many introductory activities. One of those, go around, say your name, and say one fun fact about you, sort of introductions. Be attentive during those, see if you can try to remember the people's names. Maybe you'll find someone that you really connect with, and be ready to share about yourself. Like I said, you're probably going to be asked at least once to share one fun fact about yourself, so it doesn't hurt to come prepared with one. And then finally, we've got week 1 and onwards. So in your first week of college, one of the best things that you can do is look to get involved in something. So there's almost certainly going to be some kind of event, let's say maybe a dance or some sort of social. There's always a social event within the first week of a college for freshmen. And one of the most important things that I see come up is a club fair. So you go to a club fair, and then I highly encourage you to find a club that you would like to join. I understand that academics always take precedent above everything else, but it's really important that you find or build a community when you go to college. That way you have just a group of people who make you really feel like you belong there. As you continue and your semester goes along, I think it's really important that you continue to talk to your classmates and especially to peers within your major. There's a likelihood that you're going to see each other again, and you'll probably end up in group projects, so it doesn't hurt to get to know them now. And then obviously, most important, you're going to want to keep up with your academics. It's going to be a big transition, and there's the opportunity for a lot of fun things to happen, but you cannot continue to do fun things in college if you aren't in college. So most importantly, now is the time to develop or refine study habits. If you have not up until now had to develop a study habit, now's the time to do it. But now is also a good time, if you do feel that you have some really good study habits, to tweak it. See if there's anything that you could improve upon to make you a better studier. Find a good study spot. I always recommend the library, but it doesn't have to be. It could be that your dorm has some sort of common area that you find really appealing. Maybe you want to stay in your dorm and you set up a nice space on your desk that you know this is where you're going to study. And it doesn't even have to be on campus. Maybe there's a local coffee shop nearby that you would really like to go and study at. Just find a good place where you know that you can go there and only focus on school. Now is also the time to monitor your well-being. Speaking from the experience of someone who is, let's say, a tryhard. I think that's okay for me to say. I'm a bit of a tryhard. I am a bit of an overachiever when it comes to school. And I am very likely to overlook any signs that I am not feeling well mentally or physically, because I believe that taking care of myself means that I'll have less time to invest in academics. Now, the thing is, if you're not feeling well physically or mentally, you can't give your all to academics anyway. So what's most important is that you keep up with yourself. And there's the possibility that if you do need help and you need resources, there's probably some sort of on-campus counseling service. And then just as far as monitoring your physical well-being, I just have to be honest. When everyone comes to campus for the first time, they're coming from all walks of life. They have contacted or been in contact with a variety of different people, probably attended a lot of graduation parties. That is to say, we are all coming to campus, having talked with who knows how many people. Someone is going to bring some sort of virus, some sort of sickness. It just happens. Guarantee in your first 2 or 3 weeks, something big is going to break out on campus, probably in your dorms, because it's a lot of people living in a really close space. So the last thing you want to do is to overlook any signs or symptoms that maybe you are not feeling well, because it's better to just take a few days off and get some rest, take whatever medicine you need, as opposed to waiting until it's too bad and missing a whole week of classes, and then there's all that work you have to make up for. So just do what you can to take care of yourself and keep that in mind. Maybe you want to wear a mask your first week or so of school. That has just been really beneficial to keeping myself from being sick. So that's a little further advice on that. And then, as I mentioned, the most important thing is that if you feel you need help, you should ask for it. There are those counseling services almost certainly available on campus. There's tutoring services. You can talk to your teacher if you need further assistance. Go to office hours, talk to your peers, see if maybe any of them can help you assist with these questions that you have. Never hesitate to reach out. And really, the most important thing after all that is try to have fun. You're going to hear a million times that college is going to be a great experience and that there's really nothing else like it. So do what you can to enjoy it. It's going to be crazy. It's going to go by fast, but hopefully you're going to have fun during all of it. Hopefully you learned something new, and I hope you will continue to watch any of the videos that we put out. Thanks. Have a good day.